14 of the most skilled student welders from across the country come together in one national welding challenge. Find out who welds their way to the title of Project MFG National Welding Champion. Welcome to Clash of Trades, presented by Project MFG. I'm your host, Stephanie Quayle. This competition reflects a real-life welding assignment by requiring the production of a project with both time and budget constraints. Each welder has identical materials and 3 hours on the clock. What's more, they have no idea what they will be welding until the clock starts. Up to 100 points are available throughout the competition, and the welder with the highest point total wins. The Project MFG National Welding Challenge is made possible by Lincoln Electric and Osborne, along with funding from the U.S. Department of Defense's Industrial Base Analysis and Sustainment Program, or IBAS. Each of the 14 competitors advanced through a series of local competitions to arrive at the National Challenge. They represent the top student welders from trade school programs across the country.
I know the competition's going to be fierce. Everyone's going to be extremely good at what they're doing.
I've never been this far. I've never been in like a competition like this, but I must be decent, I guess.
I'm not worried about winning. I'm just here to have fun and experience this.
I'm competitive, really competitive. I like winning. I hope I win.
There's a lot of great welders out there. I mean, it's very hard to get to a national level, and those that are, it's very lucky.
Let's meet our panel of expert judges for the competition. Lead judge Shannon Aaronmore is the owner of Weld Like a Girl in Yuma, Arizona. Shannon is a certified welding inspector and educator who serves on 2 committees with the American Welding Society. A former college professor of wellness and psychology, she's known as the Wellness Welder and is passionate about empowering girls and women through welding.
I want to have women and non-traditional folks represented in welding. It's exciting and it's fun, and I want to raise the bar.
Frank Dragolich has 32 years of experience in the welding industry, currently serving as the Lincoln Electric ATF testing supervisor and quality manager. Frank is an AWS certified welding inspector and educator who holds a patent for a welding process and has authored welding guides. He volunteers his time at the AWS, serving on the main Q&C committee as well as multiple subcommittees.
I've performed over 700 welder qualification tests in the last 3 years. I see people have nerve issues every day. I think the nerves is what they're going to struggle with, especially with all these eyes on them.
William Anthony Kennedy is the Director of Sales for Osborne's Roller Technologies and Specialty Pipeline Division, with a background in both product engineering and creative design. He brings a costing engineer's perspective to the competition, as well as an eye for quality finishing and artistic expression.
I think that it's challenging for the competitors going to be walking in blind, not knowing what they're up against, and then having to figure that out right there on the spot under a time crunch.
This competition is hosted at Lincoln Electric's world headquarters in Cleveland, Ohio. For over 125 years, Lincoln Electric has been the world leader in the design, development, and manufacture of welding products. Their weld school is the longest operating and most comprehensive welding training facility in the world.
It's definitely way larger than any facility that any of the students that are competing were trained at. So just being on that kind of, playing field, I know it's nerve-wracking. Being put to the test, definitely going to be challenging for each one of the competitors for sure.
Right now we're here to celebrate you. As you all aware that you're the top of your competition series that happened over the summer. You're the cream of the crop, and we're glad that you're here. And now we're going to find out who's the cream of the cream. I guess that's what we'll talk about, right?
Honestly, if you would have looked at me and told me before I started college welding, you told me that, I would probably call you a liar. As a kid, I wanted to really be a nurse or an orthopedic surgeon. Out of the blue, my ag advisor, she was like, well, why don't you try some welding? And it just accelerated from there. I ended up being, as a junior, I was 5th in the state of Nebraska for TIG welding, and then the next year I went to be 2nd in the state.
Competitors split into 2 groups to take a tour of the Lincoln Electric facility. What they don't know is that a surprise is in store. Their competition begins a day early. Each group is tasked with a written welding test and a stick welding challenge in the virtual reality training lab.
As we're walking in here, I want to let you guys all know your competition starts right now. You are going to have 15 minutes from the time that I give you a WPS to make a good quality weld. I'm going to show you guys how to set it up one time. If you mess it up, that's going to be on you. Fair? All right, follow me up front, please. We're trying to put students in a position where they don't feel 100% comfortable. Because when they do hit the actual work field, they're going to be given challenges that maybe they're not anticipating. That's why we're doing what we're doing, is to make sure that they're critically thinking when they're putting these parts together. You guys know what a WPS is? It's not a work procedure sheet. Welding procedure specification, right? Pay attention. You guys get one shot at this, okay? You guys liking this idea?
Not so much. I like it better than the test.
You like it better than the test? That's fair, I get it. Has any of you guys ever used one of these?
No.
No?
Kind of gives an experience between, you know, the competitive level of everything to the stress level. It makes you question, kind of forces us to stay on our toes, kind of be prepared for what may come along.
Go.
The welders start their virtual welding challenge. The task involves a simulation of shielded metal arc welding or stick welding. The competitors make practice runs using the machine's advanced technology to alert them of adjustments they can make for a higher quality weld. Before time is up, they must complete one final weld without guidance. Whatever score they finish with determines their placement for this event.
It is similar to actual welding. It is not the same thing, but it does give you the muscle memories and stuff that will translate from the virtual world into the real world. It does pick up all the little flaws that maybe you will be able to hide as an actual welder, but it's going to eliminate a lot of those flaws before you get into the welding booth.
It's definitely different. I can tell you that.
You guys have 2 minutes remaining. Please turn off your cues or else your score will not count.
My weaknesses are anything stick welding. It gets me out of my element, participating in competitions, and makes me nervous.
What'd you guys think? Was that fun?
It's fun. It's different.
Like it?
It's weird.
That's cool. Weird, cool.
Real weird.
All in all, guys, excellent. If you have not used these before, you guys did a really good job.
Who rose to the challenge of virtual reality stick welding? With 10 points available, Wyatt Gwynn comes out on top with 9.6 points, followed by Peyton Schmidt with 9.3 and Nick Leone with 9.2. The written test results are still kept under wraps. Now it's time to see what these welders can do as the competition begins to heat up. The project specifications, equipment, materials, and time limit are all identical. What differs is each welder's plan of attack.
Going to a competition and not knowing what you're going to be welding on is like taking a trip across the country and picking a road that you don't know where it's going to. You have no idea what the outcome's going to be.
I'm going into this competition and I don't know really what to expect at all. So that's a little bit nerve-wracking because it could be really almost anything.
I think it's honestly very exciting not knowing what it is because everyone's entering on the same playing field.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, start.
I want to challenge myself, so I want to see something I've never done before.
When I open the playbook, I hope to see maybe like a blueprint that's harder to read, that maybe I'm better at reading than everybody else.
Each welder receives a WPS, a welding procedure specification, that serves as a playbook for creating the product that meets production standards. In this challenge, they're making an octagon-shaped trophy with 8 individual parts that are welded together on a flat base using 2 common welding processes, MIG and TIG. The trophy is a pressure vessel, meaning it must be able to hold air without any leaks. No small task for a student welder.
How do you actually go to construct something that doesn't exist? There, this problem, and this problem, and here are the criteria. And so now you're like, okay, I'm running out of fingers. And so critical thinking is essential for a welder. Anyone who says, oh, they're just a dumb welder, I think you've got that completely wrong. I've met a lot of welders that were afraid of school because they thought they weren't very smart, but it turns out they're some of the smartest people I know because of what they can make. Not everyone's good with their hands. Not everyone's made for the trades, but it's okay because college could be your backup.
Let's see what we got here. What do we got?
I graduated from the University of Alabama with a business degree and didn't find any jobs that I wanted. College is saturated right now, and you don't know what jobs are going to be available here in the future, but we all know that the trades are going strong. My dad's been super supportive of this path. He is the one who bought me my first welder, so that was pretty much what got me into it. It was a cheap 90 amp flux core welder, and I fixed his exhaust pipe on his truck, and it felt so good to be able to do something where he would have had to take his truck to the shop. I went and got underneath it and just patched it up, so that was really probably what got me, him getting me a welder and just supporting it and then saying, yeah, go for it.
I lost a competition when I was 17, and then after that, I just drove forward and I said, I'm not gonna let that happen again. It's pretty amazing that I have the opportunity to be here. I had a fascination with metal, how you could take something so solid and turn it into whatever you wanted. I've always been fascinated with fire as well, so just metal, fire, and creativity all in one.
It's time for a little Welding 101. Welding is a fabrication process that uses intense heat and pressure to melt and fuse metals together. While it may sound simple, there are several complex types of welding, the four most common being MIG, TIG, stick, and flux core. MIG welding uses a wire fed through the weld gun that acts both as an electrode conductor and filler metal, first creating the spark, then melting to form the weld. One of the easier processes to learn, MIG is popular with beginner welders. An efficient way to weld metals of varying thicknesses, MIG is widely used in the manufacturing and construction industries. While MIG relies on an ongoing wire feed, TIG welding uses a non-consumable tungsten electrode to heat welding rods that are placed by hand in a pool of molten metal to fuse two metals together. Often considered one of the most challenging methods to master, TIG welding requires a great deal of skill and finesse to produce the precise and detailed work often found in aerospace, automotive, and construction industries. Now that we've sparked your interest, let's get back to the competition.
Well, this is gonna be interesting. I'm smooth sailing right now. I'm a great TIG welder in my opinion, but that's a welder saying it, so every welder is gonna say that. Blueprints, they can get me sometimes, but I'm not saying I'm terrible. It's just they throw in a little tricks there, they might get me.
Everybody out? Come on out. Guys, I just got a phone call from the engineers. We got some change orders.
Uh-oh.
Okay? We're gonna go ahead and go to the mild steel trophy base. You guys see that? Right there it says process GMAW spray transfer. We're gonna change that to short circuit transfer.
Wait, can you repeat that?
The change order details from the engineer include technical changes to the process, wire speed, and voltage settings. It's up to the competitors to take accurate notes and implement the changes. The welders get back to work with the adjusted plans in hand.
Pretty confident. I'm a little maybe overconfident, but I was glad to make it into the competition, come up here and show what I can do.
Okay, so how you feeling?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
It seems to be going pretty good. It ain't too bad.
Okay, you're not feeling overly nervous or anything?
Nah.
What about that field change? Did that throw you for a loop?
It was unexpected. I didn't expect that. It was a little different, but I hadn't started yet, so it's still going all right. I'm from Hodges, Alabama, which is middle of nowhere. There ain't much of anything there. There's a stop sign. That's mostly why I was in the hobby of building stuff and doing stuff like that, because there ain't much else to do. Making money with your hands just always been what I wanted to do. And welding's just the one that always appealed to me the most. And I found it pretty entertaining, so here I am now.
Before you weld a project up, is there anything that you do specifically to make sure that you have good luck?
I make sure I read the blueprint a bunch of times, make sure I know where every weld's going, how it's gonna go, what order I'm gonna do everything in, and then I stick to my plan the whole time.
Stick to the plan, I like that.
Once you do it, you can't change it.
We're gonna have a little bit of a tricky fit up, and so they're gonna have to compensate for that. So that'll be interesting how they handle it.
So the most complicated one.
Competitors begin fitting up their project using different methods. Individual parts are positioned with thin gaps in between where the welds will go. Getting this step right is essential to the quality of the final product, which must be leak-proof. There is no room for error.
What I actually do for Lincoln Electric right now is I run our American Welding Society accredited testing facility, and I test welders every day to determine whether they can weld or not. I've even tested our own weld school instructors, and even these guys who weld every day and have done this for years. On test day, they get very, very nervous. Their hands start shaking, they start sweating, they start forgetting the next step and what they're supposed to do.
So tell me what's going on in your head right now.
Just what's to do first. There's so much to do, I just don't know where to start.
What do you usually do to kind of manage your stress?
I just take a deep breath, take a minute, get back out of my head and just go on with it. If you got a dream about it, go for it. I mean, that's what I did. I had a dream and I taught myself how to weld.
You taught yourself how to weld?
Yep.
Wow, okay.
And I've achieved a lot.
Well, you got to the final round. You obviously did something, right?
I think it's very fascinating how you can join two pieces of metal by using electricity and all that. I've been doing it for 5-6 years. I've been welding on thin stuff, thick stuff. I mean, I've practiced a little bit of everything. I'm nervous.
If you're nervous, you're not ready. We've been preparing for this. That's all we did in college was prepare for challenges. You know that phrase where the man sits for 2 hours sharpening his axe while the other man just goes to it? That's what we were taught. Sit back, play it out in your head, because you're gonna run into way more problems if you just jump right in and not even think.
Woo!
I'm gonna have to mess with that. I'm trying to focus on this first part you put down, because that first part like determines everything. Because if it's not squared or anything, it's gonna throw every part that you put on right next to each other.
There's obviously pressure and, the environment's different. But you gotta focus on your own welds, read carefully, and pay attention on what you're welding. I usually look around me and just freak out, so.
You gotta relax, calm down. Even though you hear all these people, getting ahead of you. It's okay. Worry about yourself.
I haven't been paying attention to anybody else, man. Just here doing my thing. Trying to be a little bit different with my approach to things.
Peyton approaches his project from the inside out, laying the pieces out flat, TIG welding on the inside to tack the pieces together, and then folding it up into the final shape before attaching it to the base.
Put myself in a predicament.
Other competitors assemble their products upright on the base, welding from the outside.
Please hold, please hold. Please hold, please hold. It's definitely a lot more than what I thought though.
Yeah, in what way? Tell me.
Just like putting it together, like actually figuring out which pieces I need to put on first, and like especially that top piece. I didn't know if I should weld them off first, grind down, and then put that thing on the top, or just put it on the top and try and weld to it. I boxed it up, and it looks like it might be a 30-second oversize to the base. Because of the way that I tacked it up, it might have been a little gap, but I mean, there's really nothing I can do about it now.
Right.
But
because
yeah.
we're in the contest and there's a time component.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You think you're gonna finish on time?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna finish on time.
Okay.
Yeah. I see myself owning a fabrication shop. The jobs that you can do are limited by what tools you have. Tools aren't cheap. So I'm just doing what I can, and I'm working part-time, going to school part-time, and there's always gonna be work available, like always.
Setup is crucially important in fabrication. Welding for me was more of a meandering path. I didn't really decide that I wanted to do it as a career path. I just wanted that as a skill set so that I could build and repair things that I wanted to do as a hobby in my own time. I actually grew up in Indiana and moved to Kansas City following a job and decided to go to Johnson County Community College to learn some different skill sets. And I've actually been through their heating and cooling program, and I've just finished their welding program and got a degree in welding. I am pretty good at print reading, but I don't do it regularly, so that presents a challenge because if you're not doing it, you get rusty. Well, right now I'm just tacking everything together. I have a pretty good idea. I went through the prints, spent some time on the prints, and tried to make sure I understood the layout and what I needed to do. And now I'm just trying to get everything secured so that way I can do my final welds and keep my dimensional tolerance.
Okay, how are you going to keep dimensional tolerance?
With aggressive tacking, just
Aggressive
making sure
tacking,
that
okay.
I've got everything pretty locked in before I put some nice hot welds down that I know are going to be distorting and trying to move that metal.
I'm going to have to use that term, aggressive tacking.
Aggressive.
Okay.
I like it.
When I asked the guys, you know, was the field change, did that make you nervous? Was that upsetting? And some of the guys were like, no, it didn't bother me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that means they didn't know what they were looking at.
Right.
Because clearly a spray transfer is very different from short circuit. And they didn't see that.
There's definitely a couple of them that are struggling to follow instructions from the get-go. And then that's going to bite them in the end because missing the important details up front is going to destroy their ability to complete this competition in a timely fashion.
What I hope to bring to the competition for these competitors is I've got an eye for art, and also as a costing engineer, so I'll be looking at the process and products and how they're going about it to see if they could do it more cost effectively. Competition always drives you to be better, and so absolutely the competition will allow these guys to push themselves to strive for more, and then when they get out in the field with that energy, they'll just do a bang-up job.
I think it gives them a goal to strive for. I think looking for the prize at the end definitely has something to do with it. The guy next to you is going to drive you to be better and so on and so forth. Everybody pushing each other to do better. Somebody's going to come out of this shining like a golden star.
Osborne cares a lot about supporting young trade professionals. Our team is able to empower the next generation of welders and manufacturers by providing them with the solutions they need for success.
Osborne sells the highest quality brush products in North America and across the globe for skilled trades such as welding.
We make everything from wire brushes and bonded abrasives to maintenance and paint brushes. Whether you're new to the trades or have countless years of experience, when you choose Osborne, you'll get innovative solutions. But most importantly, you get a partner to help you from start to finish.
While welding is a hands-on skilled trade, it also requires brain power. Welders must have a deep knowledge of welding processes, materials, types of gases, math, and intricate industry terminology and symbols. It's time to find out who excelled at the surprise written test, created by welding school instructors. Nick Leone takes the lead with 18 points out of 20 available, followed closely by Peyton Schmidt at 17 and Blake Schroeder at 16.8. Will their book smarts translate in the hands-on competition? Let's watch more action unfold and test your mettle.
I've always been better working with my hands than I have with book work, so I felt better welding than the actual written test.
Clayton's written test score fell right in the middle of the pack. He'll have to make up for the lost points by proving his practical welding expertise. Before doing the actual welds, Clayton uses scrap metal pieces to practice the MIG and TIG welding processes. The project specifications call for alternating MIG and TIG to close the gaps all the way around the trophy.
I just kind of practiced a little bit of everything. What I knew, brought it back to basics. Definitely the appearance of my TIG welds are not the best, but that's always something I can work on.
It's been a while since I've done a lot of the book work. I'm pretty confident in my welds, so if someone wins, then they definitely deserve it. That's the effort that I want to give and the attitude I want to have when I'm done.
I don't know. I think I'll just do it.
I didn't want to use my practice metal or my scrap metal to dial in my machine because I was honestly in the beginning worried about my time. So I just thought I just need to throw this thing together, put welds on it, and just try and do my best. I started welding and then adjusted my settings to my piece, which is not what you're supposed to do. But when they put the timer on you, they put you in a new place, down to the gloves that you've been using every day, to the welding hood that you look through every day, that's what adds up. That's what makes it difficult.
Whew, welds are not looking good today, boys.
It's like rock climbing. When I go to rock climb and I stare up at the face of a rock, it's constant analysis. You think you're gonna do this one thing and then you get up there and it doesn't look like what you thought it was going to. Or maybe my legs aren't long enough, or maybe it's, there's just a perspective shift when you get up there. So welding is the same. It's continuous critical thinking, reevaluating, and correcting the problem before it gets too big.
Just as Luke King from Alabama fits up his final piece, he realizes the opening isn't the right size. With time counting down, he must decide what to do. Try to make it work, or take it apart and start all over.
So it's not good?
Not going the best.
What?
I got out of square and had to kind of start all over. So.
Did you have to take it apart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of it.
You think you're gonna make it? Time crunch?
We'll see. It'll be close. Clear my mind and just get it done. I know my job.
The one thing I definitely tell every welder who comes through my department is that you are your own best welding inspector. You are the first person who can reject your weld. So be the first person to reject it, fix it before anybody else sees it. Make sure the weld is right, because you as a welder shouldn't have those skills.
I got a little bit more of a gap than on one-on-one, but I think it's gonna go pretty good.
And how are you gonna handle that larger gap?
I think I'm gonna do it with the MIG so it fills out better, but I think that'll be all right.
How are you feeling about the overall project?
Starting to feel better about it. First I was nervous because it's a bunch of pieces, it's kind of overwhelming, but once you get them all together and it's one piece, it looks a whole lot better.
TIG, just being real finicky with it, just having the finesse to weld some smaller gauge metal. I do a lot of structural welding, so going from stick welding to TIG welding, it's gonna be weird.
You wanna see full fusion, so you wanna see, fusion at the toes of the weld, so you wanna look like it's really tied in well. And there's always some kind of geometry, there's also tons of measurement. Make sure that everything is exactly in the angle that it should be.
Oh, ho, 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 like a glove.
How you feeling?
All right.
All right? You're a little hesitant when you said all right.
Well, I'm just trying to rush it. I just need to let it cool down just a bit. I just need to calm down and let it cool down. I'm gonna go back in there, see how hot it is still, see if I can cool it down a little bit. Maybe do some TIG since I can kind of control that heat input. But I don't know, I might just try to wave it around, whatever you gotta do to get it cooled down. That's warm.
What the hell?
There's no way that gas could have gotten turned off, right? Because I just struck this arc and it acted just like there's no argon at all. I'm not going crazy, am I?
No, tap that, the argon's full. Tap that pedal for me. Where'd you lose your argon to?
Whoa, 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 whoa. God dang it.
All right. Why is this happening?
I've never seen anything like it.
Welcome back to Welding 101, where we'll learn about 2 more types of welding. One of the oldest techniques, stick welding, is known for its portability and uses welding rods or sticks as a filler metal to bond the weld. During this process, a current forms between the electrode, the wire stick, and adjoining surfaces, which softens and fuses the metal together. The wide use and versatility of stick welding makes it a great option for a range of projects, from maintenance and repairs to underwater welding. Flux core arc welding uses a hollow wire electrode fed through the welding gun and into the weld joint to fuse the metals. This type of welding works well on thicker metals and is often used for heavy-duty welding in industries such as shipbuilding, construction, and manufacturing. Stick and flux core welding use a physical barrier to create more protection from external elements, making both ideal for outdoor welding. Welding 101 class is dismissed. The clock is ticking, and every minute counts. In the race to the finish, we'll see who rises to the challenge when things really get heated.
If you're on a different welder that you're not used to, settings on one are going to be different on the other. And in my job right now, I'm hopping on 4 or 5 different welders a day. It's not new to me knowing that different machines are different. It's just having the time to figure out your machine before you're just thrown on a timer and everything like that.
You got something making contact between 2 things that shouldn't be making contact.
But what? There's nothing.
I hope it wasn't something from the other booth that came over into this booth.
As the Lincoln Electric pros swap out the machine, Peyton does what he can outside the booth so he doesn't lose any more time.
It puts me in a mental state where I have to overcome something, whether it be like fear, anxiety. It adds for moral character, growth because of how much trouble I was having in the welding booth.
Excuse me, sir. I'll squeeze by you for a second.
Go ahead.
It's hot.
Is it? That's what it is then.
Your machine was touching his machine and shorted his machine out.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
They uncover that the competitor in the next booth over accidentally put his machine in flux core mode, which turned on a new wire feed. That wire crossed under the wall into Peyton's booth and shorted out his machine.
This kid here's got a winning part, and I hate to see him struggling.
With a new welding machine in his booth, Peyton gets back to work. All the competitors are flying fast, but they must make time for more. They are tasked with producing a creative element on a separate piece of metal, where they'll show off their personalities through a personal brand. This challenge is designed to highlight creative thinking and the ability for welders to bring their unique perspective to a project.
I want to know what they use for their creative piece. They can weld really well, but what else do they bring to the table? You don't have to be an artist to be a welder. People who can build concrete things, when they learn the skill of welding and they start making tangible items, their creativity comes with time.
They push you to the limits, make you think outside the box, creativity, operations, the order where you should weld, all that kind of thing, placing. It just makes you a way better welder, in my opinion.
Time is running out and every minute counts. Competitors work to complete their projects and come up with a creative element. Both Nicks decide to tackle 3-dimensional creative elements. Nick Hicks starts with an ambitious project using his leftover materials to make a cave and fire pit, representing some of his interests. Nick Leone decides to use extra filler metal to spell out the letters of the trade school he attended. Will the extra effort pay off if they don't finish in time?
Sometimes people really get so whipped up, they get overwhelmed and they want to give up. And I always tell people just take a breath. You are your own worst enemy.
I'm digging that. I'm trying to make 6 figures like every other welder is. I could sit behind a desk, but as a career and 8 hours a day, I love physical labor. There's so many opportunities through welding. You can just go down one path and then go down another one and still do the same thing.
And I worked in this lab on a daily basis.
Oh, he's done? Okay, we got someone done. Extra points.
Blake is the first competitor to finish with almost 55 minutes left on the clock. He will receive 5 points for finishing first.
You know, if a welder doesn't look back and think he can't do anything differently, he's not a welder. So there's plenty of stuff where I look back and I'm like, man, I should have done this a little bit differently. But all in all, it went pretty smoothly.
He's followed closely by Nick Leone, who came in just under 3 minutes later.
I'm not confident that I'm going to win, but I'm confident that I'm at least going to do a really nice job with what I'm trying to do. So we'll see.
Seeing the final product at the end of it, that's what drives me. That's what keeps me going, keeps pushing me, and I learn every day. So I don't think I'll ever stop learning.
Yeah, let me see.
I learned a lot. I would read over the WPS. I would check my welding machine multiple times to make sure that settings were still correct after I had changed things around. But I stuck with it and I just tried to make it look as good as possible. I made sure that it held pressure and, you know, it came out looking decent in the end.
Contestants, you have 10 minutes left.
Despite the machine issues, Peyton finishes with time to spare.
When I was walking my piece to the table, I had not seen anybody else's. I was down bad. Maybe just in the middle of the pack, you know.
I mean, I always have doubts. I feel like if you get too comfortable, then that's when failure slips in.
Clayton turns his final project in with less than 5 minutes on the clock.
I was sitting down there earlier thinking about when I started a couple years ago in high school welding, and I didn't think I'd amount to anything close to this, so it's just a huge blessing to be able to even have been invited here.
Nick Hicks stops midway through his creative element, leaving it incomplete. The remaining competitors turn in their projects with less than 30 seconds to go, whether they are finished or not. Whose projects will measure up in the judging rounds? Stay tuned to find out.
Weld Like a Girl started off as a girls and women's empowerment project using welding fabrication. And I soon found out that boys and men also want to learn those skills. Everything is project-based, and that way it helps build confidence and self-esteem, but it doesn't have the pressure of a 16-week semester. The whole purpose of Weld Like a Girl is to open up a world that you didn't know about and to show you that you can do something you didn't think you can do. Because at the end of the day, then you can ask yourself, what else can I do that I didn't think I could do?
With the competition over, welders present their final products and creative elements to the judging panel. They each recap their performance and explain what they chose to do for their creative element.
Did like a little fire pit in there and some logs and all that.
Very cool, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it would have been great.
I built the Clash of Trades, and then I put the emblem that's semi-sort of made it as close as I could to the hat. I figured that y'all might like that.
I just tagged on Lincoln Electric, and I tried to put a little background marks in there with the grinding disc.
Excellent use of texture.
I thought about it a little bit and I said, well, I could do something in the flat, but maybe it'd be kind of fun to do something in the third dimension. So the only material I had to work with was some extra filler. So I decided to do the initials of the school. That's where I learned this trades.
It's nice.
Thank you.
I had 5 minutes left at the end, and I finished without any major hiccups, so it was all cool beans.
It was cool beans,
It was cool
right.
beans.
All right.
I did my initials because they kind of have a joke with them.
Did you really think we were going to take your BS today?
Honestly, I thought it was pretty creative.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
We
trying
got a
to be
chuckle out of it. We
serious,
had
but
to
I
say
couldn't
it.
do it.
Good. I was like, I hope I didn't cross a boundary there.
No, I think everybody can pull
Totally
that
could
one
not
off.
keep a straight face.
Not all competitors had time for the creative piece and will lose out on those points for not completing the task. After creative element judging is complete, Nick Leone and Peyton Schmidt are still battling for first place, with Nick at 31 points and Peyton at 28 points with a total of 35 available. Next, the trophies are put to the test. The pressure test, that is. Remember, these trophies are designed to be pressure vessels, meaning they must hold air. Everyday examples of welded pressure vessels are propane tanks, air compressors, and water towers. If any of those vessels leaked, it would not be good. In this test, bubbles are bad and reflect an unsuccessful weld. The test is worth 15 points, so this really matters. 4 competitors have no leaks and receive perfect scores on their pressure vessel tests. Peyton, Jesse, Luke, and Clayton. This pushes them to the front of the pack. Peyton pulls ahead of Nick for the first time since the virtual weld, with 43 out of 50 points available. Jesse Oliver and Luke King land in the top 3 for the first time, and Clayton is trailing by only 1 point. However, there are still 50 points available in the final round of judging.
This new generation of welders that's coming out, not only do they have to deal with the increasing complexity of the technology that's coming along with welding, but they also have to take advantage of that to make sure they're making good quality, safe parts. There's a lot of people out there who are welding with untrained welders and building things that you and I drive in, ride on, ride under, walk under, and I gotta tell you, it scares the heck out of me sometimes. I can't go to an amusement park and not look at the welds that I see and hope and pray that they're well done by somebody with some training and qualifications.
Judges examine the final welds and take detailed measurements, including vessel height, shape and symmetry, base flatness, part preparation, the aesthetic of the weld beads, and the overall visual appearance. Missing points on any one element could be the difference between winning and losing. Who will be named champion? It's almost time to find out.
Good cop, bad cop, really? You going there?
I'm going
I thought you were there in Chihuahua.
Judges call back competitors for more detailed questions before making their final decision.
How did you end up being so close to the time clock?
I did a lot of practice runs to make sure that I didn't have any leaks, because I really wanted to hold up to pressure.
So you scored well on the pressure vessel integrity part of the test. You scored a perfect score on that, so you didn't have any leaks, which is outstanding. You were close on the time at the end of the day, so I'm glad you turned in something on the creativity, but a little more thought and effort could have gone a long way there. You were the first one done with almost an hour to spare. Do you feel if you would have taken your time a little bit more, you could have scored higher on some other areas like creativity or the quality of your part?
My part, I think I could have taken a little bit more time. I brushed and brushed and brushed, tried cleaning it the best I could. I could have cleaned it a little bit better than I probably should have.
So, Blake, you've mentioned that you enjoy competition. It's part of, your makeup. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I would love to be a repair shop, just work on farm equipment, other things such as bale feeders.
Repair work means you didn't get to build it.
Yep.
If you didn't get to build it, it might not have been built right.
Opening your own shop, putting on the title of their AWS certified welder is something that would go a long way towards accomplishing your goals. So I would highly recommend you take some tests and get certified.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, judges podium?
Nice. Your time came in very nicely, good. Obviously that makes things cost effective in the long run. One thing that will cost you great annually is using that stainless steel wire brush on the carbon steel.
You really had a strong showing, that's for sure. He got dinged a little on his visual because he got a little sloppy on his welds.
Yeah,
and I think a
he
lot of that has
struggled
to do with
with
his craters. His
Right.
craters, he
Yeah.
struggled with his craters.
Your approach was a little bit different. Seeing the TIG welds on the inside.
Yes.
Is that something you do normally?
Yeah, every time I make a box, I will lay it out and make sure that everything is plumb and flush, and then I will hit it with fusion tacks on the inside and fold it up into a box and make sure that it's square. Yeah.
That works for sure. I mean, you did it successfully. Your pressure vessel held its integrity on the leak test 100%. The one question we do have going forward to you is where do you see your career in 10 years from now?
10 years, I see myself owning my own shop. I'm down for whatever makes me money, to be honest.
But welding is definitely the career you
Oh
want
yeah,
to choose.
welding is definitely, yeah, absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Now for the moment we've been waiting for. Let's start with third place. With points for being the first to finish and a solid performance in the detailed visual inspection, Blake Schroeder takes home the third place title.
Just seeing the beginning to the end is the best feeling in the world. I mean, to come back home being top 3 in the nation is pretty cool. It's pretty surreal, and it was a great time, had a blast here.
Our second place competitor made up for his slightly lower score on the written test by welding a nearly flawless final product, only missing 1 point in the detailed visual inspection. This was enough to move Clayton Womack up to second place.
It's a pretty good feeling. Definitely encourages me and wants me to drive forward and pursue this even more.
And now, the winner of Clash of Trades and the Project MFG National Welding Challenges, Peyton Schmidt. Despite some hiccups in the booth, Peyton proved to be a well-rounded welder with critical thinking skills when things got tough. He also only missed 3 points in the visual inspection. Peyton takes home $3,000 and the title of Project MFG National Welding Champion.
To have won the competition, it feels amazing. Knowing that I was up against 14 people and I was the best, it's crazy, man. There's no other words to describe it. I really can't describe it. With the money that I won, I will be able to do so much with it as far as starting my business. I will be buying nothing but big tools with it. My dad, and I'm sure he'll call me up, tell me how proud he is of me, and you know, I'll thank him for how much he's done for me, and it's gonna feel awesome to tell him that one.
Thank you for watching Clash of Trades. Now it's your turn to join the movement. Let's give the skilled trades the spotlight they deserve. Visit projectmfg.com and follow us on social media to become a competitor, participating school, industry partner, or enthusiastic advocate. Thanks for watching.